Welcome to Cammy's Comic
Welcome
Corner.
to Cammy's Comic Corner.
Cammy's Comic Corner.
Welcome to Cammy's Comic Corner.
Hello, comic book fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner, holiday gift suggestions for 2011. I'm your host, as always, Cammy. So if you're a fan of the show, you know that I did an episode similar to this last year where I said, hey, if you're looking for something to get that geeky loved one in your life, or if you want to try to turn on somebody to comic books and graphic novels in general, watch this episode. I'll throw out some suggestions for you, and then you can go spend your money on them. And you know what? People love graphic novels for Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, you name it. You know, there's going to be a holiday involving a gift, and you can buy it for somebody, and they celebrate it. So, if that wasn't confusing enough, let's get on to some suggestions for 2011 that you might want to go out and look for, whether you're doing online shopping or at Barnes & Noble's, Borders. We'll get to websites at the end there. But first up from Top Shelf, Infinite Kung Fu. Now, if you're a big fan of Enter the Dragon and 70s era action flicks like that, throw in a little blaxploitation and some like Lord of the Rings type of on a journey, you have Infinite Kung Fu. It's a very thick graphic novel, beautiful artwork. I cannot recommend it enough. We also have From Hell. It's kind of a classic. If you've seen the movie, forget everything you know about the movie. Stick with the original source material. Again, this also is a very thick hardcover. It's for that nerd who might like a little bit of history in his graphic novels, and it revolves around Jack the Ripper. So, ooh, it is kind of nasty, and it is Alan Moore writing it, so you know it's good stuff. And then we have Tricked. It comes out in trade paperback and in hardcover. There's a beautiful hardcover that has a little mixtape, as you can see right there. Alex Robinson's one of my favorites when it comes to independent creator-owned work, and Tricked, I think, is by far one of his best stories that he has told. So, moving on to IDW, Richard Stark's Parker the Martini Edition. Now, if you own or if you've read Parker the Hunter or The Outfit, this is an oversized collection of both, plus a little one-shot that came out last year, The Man with the Getaway Face. So not only do you get that, but you get all the whole history, and you get all this great, like, I think it's like 72 pages of unpublished material by Darwin Cook. And this is just so freaking gorgeous. I cannot get enough of it. You gotta hurry, though, if you want to find a copy, because these are going fast. This is a very limited edition. But then again, you do also have The Outfit and Hunter as well, if you still want to get some beautiful Darwin Cook. Moving on to Image, we have Gladstone School for World Conquerors. This is a very fun series. Think of it as X-Men meets Harry Potter, only with villains as the stars. So it's kind of an all-ages title, actually, but if you're a little bit more older reader, you know, it's very fun as well. And as a matter of fact, if you go back to Geeky Talking number 99, you can hear me interview the writer and creator of that, Mark Andrew Smith. Next up, from Dark Horse, we have BPRD, The Omnibus. They have two omnibi up right now, Plague of Frogs, and then another one that doesn't come to mind at the moment. But it is for the Hellboy fan in your household. It's just a huge collection of all the BPRD works. You have so many different artists that have contributed to the series over the years. You almost lose track. You're like, oh my god, that's right. He or she was a part of that one arc. Really cool stuff. We also have Black Sad. It's kind of a more mature Disney cartoon. It's more of a detective story. It takes place in the 30s. If you go back, look this year, it was one of my books of the month, and then you can get a little bit more of an in-depth description in detail there of what my final thoughts were. But it's very fun stuff. I would love to get that under my Christmas tree, for certain. Also, the Hellboy Library Editions. There are 4 volumes out right now, and this is for the Hellboy completist. This is for the one guy who said, hey, I saw the movie, or hey, I want to know more about this character. Just any library edition. You don't even need to get them in order. They are just so beautiful to see Mignola's oversized art with Dave Stewart's colors. It just pops off the page at you. It is, Santa himself is going to be late this year because he's going to be stuck up at the North Pole reading his copy of Hellboy the Library Edition. He isn't even past Volume 1 yet. Also, the Umbrella Academy. These are in deluxe editions, but they're also in trade paperbacks as well. So if you don't want to treat your friend that well, you can get him the trade paperback. But this is Gabriel Ba and My Chemical Romance star Gerard Way. I don't know why I was drawing a blank there. This is by far one of my favorite series in the past decade, so you should definitely go pick it up. It's just action-packed. It's kind of a more darker X-Men where the team of dysfunctional family superheroes needing to band together once again to go fight evil. And then there's time travel in there as well, and people love that kind of stuff. Also from Dark Horse, we have Axe Cop, which is the first trade paperback collecting the webcomic series, and then also Bad Guy Earth, the miniseries from Dark Horse that debuted earlier this year. This is kind of an all ages title because this is from a mind of a 9-year-old. So, all these crazy subjects, he hasn't gotten to his teen years yet, so he's not going to be writing about girls or sex and violence or anything like that yet. So this is could be considered an all ages title, but then you can get this for any age as well because it is so fun and creative. You don't know where the adventure is going to go, and it does keep you on your toes. If you are a fan of BPRD and Hellboy and that whole universe, I would highly recommend Baltimore the Plague Ships, a hardcover. Just came out recently. It is just beautiful to look at. It's this guy after World War I looking for a vampire that did his family wrong, and the whole guy's a badass. He's a peg leg. He has a whole armory on his back. It is just so much fun, action-packed. If you like that whole Hellboy vein, you're definitely going to love Baltimore the Plague Ships. Moving on to DC, there's tons of great stuff for the superhero fans out there. Well, first of all, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Omnibus recently came out, and that collects the first 2 volumes, which are sometimes pretty hard to find because a lot of people are trying to spring for the Absolute editions, but they're out of print, you can't find them, or they're really, really expensive. But the Omnibus is, nice, big size, big collection, has all the things you want when it comes to the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's always good. Or if you want just the classics, there's always Watchmen as well. That's also by Alan Moore, obviously, and Dave Gibbons, and that is one of the best hailed graphic novels, comic books of all time. Why not get your friend a piece of history? And then if they saw the movie, you can go, that's great. Now, read the stuff that it was based off of and see why a psychic squid coming from outer space would have been a perfect conclusion to that movie. But that's an entirely different podcast. So moving on from Watchmen, we have Batman, the Black Mirror hardcover that recently came out. It has, by far, my favorite creative team this year, giving one hell of a Batman story. Scott Snyder, Jock, Francesco Francavilla. Gorgeous art throughout. Amazing story. If you need to get your friend a Batman comic this year, get them the Black Mirror. By far, one of my favorite graphic novels this year. It's really action-packed. It is Batman. Scott Snyder obviously gets the character. With the Green Lantern movie that came out this past summer. If your friends are interested in some more Green Lantern lore, there's always the Green Lantern Secret Origins hardcover. That's always going through new printings. This latest one has one from the star himself, Ryan Reynolds. And then also War of the Lanterns. War of the Green Lanterns recently came out as well, and that's kind of an action-packed suspense ride. Not really suspenseful, but you have the war of all the different colored lanterns, so if your friends want to know more about certain cores, then they can go back and find out more in the previous Green Lantern series. Also, there's Joe the Barbarian from Vertigo, and that's a nice little hardcover right there. It's a great story about this kid getting lost in his own little fantasy world. Can't really tell what's real, what's not, and why does he need that cola so badly? You also have the Flashpoint hardcover, which recently came out. That might be good to get for your friends who want to jump on to the, whole new relaunch, new 52 titles, but they don't know how that all came to be. Well, this is one last hurrah, shows them why everything's all mixed up the way it is. And, gorgeous art as well, so it was a fun story, fun art. It's for that person who might be interested in what that last event was. Also, we have the Saga of the Swamp Thing. That has 6 different hardcovers, all written by Alan Moore. And that is for the person who read that one Scott Snyder's comic and said, hey, this is pretty cool. What else can I read Swamp Thing-wise? Well, these hardcovers that are coming out every few months, especially with the classic Alan Moore run, those are the ones you want to look forward to. And speaking of classic Vertigo runs, Preacher. There are 5 volumes of Preacher out. You can collect the entire series. You can know why this was one of the most groundbreaking series in the 90s/2000s. And then after that, we have Day Tripper as well. That recently came out. There's one of the... It'll make you cry. Basically, it'll make you cry. If your friend is into great storytelling, get them Day Tripper. Beautiful art by Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba, and just beautiful story by the brothers as well. Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire recently came out with its 3rd trade paperback. So you can get them 1 through 3. You can get them hooked on this one great post-apocalyptic comic book with a deer who likes chocolate bars. as the main character. It's much more complex than that, but it is such a thrilling ride. The art's beautiful, the story's great. Sweet Tooth is definitely something for someone looking for something different. Did I just confuse you? I confuse myself sometimes as well. American Vampire over at Vertigo is also by Raphael Albuquerque and Scott Snyder. And just the first two volumes are hardcovers are, well, trade paperbacks as well. These are for the fans who just go, you know what, fuck Twilight, I want a good vampire story. Well, guess what? American Vampire gives them that. You get Wild Wild West vampires going through different time periods. You got World War II. Oh, you got all these great different time periods. Las Vegas back in the 30s. And then you get just very badass vampires. These vampires do not sparkle, but your friend's eyes will after they've been done reading either volumes or both, because the series is that good. That would be a good Christmas gift for the person who doesn't know what to get their friends. 100 Bullets hardcover. If your friends are into action-packed, long series, this just came out recently. It's beautiful, a little pricey, but it's well worth your money because you get a lot of issues in this first hardcover, this book one, as it will. You don't get any bullets though, so unfortunately, if they're kind of into that kind of stuff, that's probably not going to float their boat. Also, absolute editions are always a fan favorite. You can get those for any fan because they are oversized art, and usually it's going to be a good story if it's collected, or if DC wants money, but we'll get to that later. But a couple of my favorites are the All-Star Superman that recently came out. Just gorgeous Frank Quitely art, written by Grant Morrison, the master of writing. Batman, The Long Halloween for the Batman fans, and also Dark Knight, which is Frank Miller's Absolute Dark Knight series, collecting both volumes of his epic run from the 80s. And, well, and actually, no, a little later than that. New Frontier by Darwin Cook is beautiful because of his art alone, and then all the Golden Age heroes kind of working together. It's just, again, if you're getting that, then you might as well get the Parker Martini edition as well. And then finally, Alex Ross's Absolute Justice for your friends who want to see beautiful painted superheroes in action and seeing what the medium can bring. Also, I want to talk about kids' graphic novels this year because the children are our future, apparently, so we should probably want to get them into this whole comic book thing so the industry can survive, so it's not, guys like us 20, 30 years down the line going, I remember when they were on paper. I'm not going to touch a comic again because they're digital now. Why'd Quesada have to ruin Spider-Man's marriage? I'm not looking forward in my 30s. So, kids editions are all ages titles that you can get them, and they'll probably like it. Bone, the 20th anniversary, is a full-size slipcase hardcover. $150 I think I last saw, but it is gorgeous stuff, and they're not going to flip through this and go, okay, done. They're going to take a while with this. And I've heard some parents actually read this series with their kid, and they do like a chapter a night or an issue a night. So, it is a very classic kid's tale, but adults love it as well. And they also do have a trade paperback edition, which, yeah, I have right behind me here. But the hardcover is the latest, greatest, and it's all in color. So, or you can get them a trade paperback, which is in black and white, and have them colored in themselves. Might be a little costly for a coloring book, but hey, kids love it. From Top Shelf, Dragon Puncher 1 and 2. The second one's called Dragon Puncher Island. Basically, James Kocholka is a master at these kids' tales. I know you might know me highlighting him for some of his more adult and racier stuff, but no. He loves doing children's books, and the Dragon Puncher series, and then also by him, Johnny Boo, the friendliest little ghost in the world. Both kids would love both of these. And I'm not going to brag, but my mom's a second grade teacher, and I gave her both Dragon Puncher and Johnny Boo for her classroom, and the kids love it. The boys especially love Dragon Puncher and Dragon Puncher Island. They keep asking for the second book. I haven't gotten that for them yet, but, if they're good this Christmas, and it sounds like they are, they might get it for that classroom. The Incredibles by Boom Studios. They have their own little kids imprint as well, but The Incredibles has a couple different trade paperbacks out right now. That's for the kids who love The Incredibles. Hell, I love The Incredibles, and I like this series as well. And so, they can continue on with the adventures, and it's Mark Waid, so he, knows how to write books for both adults and kids alike. G-Man by Chris Giarrusso. This is kind of for maybe young adult teens, maybe. I mean, it's still good, simple humor. It might just go over the heads of some kids, some smaller tots, but it's very fun, very fun comics. Learning to Fly and then Cape Crisis. You can get them at his website. You can get them at different websites as well. But I would recommend that because just for the fun alone. And again, they're not going to flip through it and just go, I'm done. There's some story in there, and they're going to enjoy the story that they read. Tiny Titans is kind of along the similar lines. It's over at DC. I wanted to highlight the first trade last year, but I guess it wasn't out in time, or I forget what the dealio was. But Tiny Titans is cute. It's fun. It's all of the sidekicks from the big heroes off on their own little adventures. And I think they might have some activities and stuff in the trade paperback. I haven't picked up a copy yet, but I know that kids love it. I love it even, and I'm a big kid. Also, the Owly series over at Top Shelf. There are several different volumes out, and kids always go gaga for Owly. It's very kid-friendly, very safe, nothing to worry about. It's not a Knights of Gahul or whatever that movie was. But, you know, Owly goes on fun adventures. Everyone loves him. Also, for the kids who grew up on DuckTales, well, they're all grown up now, but along the Disney animation lines, we have Darkwing Duck over at Boom Studios as well. And he was one of my favorites, you know, Let's Get Dangerous and all that stuff. And the kids would love them as well because there's Launchpad and Quack. There's DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, and I think they even have one more crossover. But that's super fun. But I say one of my favorites for last, Super Dinosaur by Robert Kirkman and Jason Howard. You have a dinosaur who has a robotic tech, and they battle other dinosaurs. Not only do kids love this, I love this. And there's not like any violence or like, oh, gore. This isn't Robert Kirkman like Walking Dead or Invincible Robert Kirkman. No. This is Robert Kirkman wanting to make stories for his own kids. And our kids and your kids profit in this as well. So, those are my suggestions for 2011. I'm sure I left off a lot and you're like, oh, well, what about that one? Well, you know, submit a list of your own or tell me, hey, you missed this one. Go to the website. What's the website? You can find out more at Cammy'sComicCorner.com. You can check out the past holiday review show. Just type it in, holiday suggestions show. Yeah, whatever I'm calling it. You can just search it in the search bar there. Every Wednesday, you get a new Geeky Talkie episode. That's an audio spin-off podcast that I do. And then at the middle of the month, there's the Book of the Month episode. And at the end of the month, there's the Top Shelf selection. And then going into 2012, I'm going to be having some new kind of independent comics, so that'll be interesting to do. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at CamComicCorner, and then like us on Facebook by going to facebook.com and then just searching Cammy's Comic Corner. So until then, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I've been your host, Cammy. Hopefully, I helped you guys, and you know, you can go out and make someone's Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Wanzaa, whatever you want to call it. So I've got to go take care of some girls who've been naughty. You know what I'm talking about. So until next time, happy Christmas shopping.